from the Big Boy Studio out on the bleeding edge of technology. From Sweet Home, Alabama to the world, it is another hour of the Rick and Bubba Show. Thank you for being with us here today. We got Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Helmsy, Eddie Van Adler, all here, and welcome back, Bill Bubba Buster.
Rick, glad to be here, and thank all of you for joining us on what is going to be a historic day here on the program.
Historic it is. Bubba, I don't even know. I think I can get going once we begin. Beginning is going to be hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how do you say that. How do you start it? Other than just saying it straight out, which is kind of usually the way we have always gone. There's we've had a lot of discussions, a lot of things. It's been incredible 30 years, and we have decided that this will be the final year of the Rick and Bubba Show. Well, there it is. I mean, I just said it right out.
Rick.
Just said it right out.
Come on out with it, Rick. Just to say it.
Just say it right out.
Yes.
Something that we really didn't want to hear, but that's it, and that's the deal. And we will finish out this year, and we're going to go wide open and have a great year.
Yeah.
And have a lot of flashbacks and memories and talk about the last 30 years that, by the way, you folks have made possible.
Yep.
And we don't discount that in the least.
No, and you're right. We got a celebration. We're not wrapping the show up today and everybody walking away. We got a long runway. We got a whole year to spend together, reminisce, talk, and I think that we all agree that's where we need to focus on celebrating, all that has taken place. Look, in this business, 30 years of the same product and very little change in the lineup is unheard of.
It really is.
I mean,
in this industry, it's very strange. So we've been very blessed, and you folks have been the ones who have blessed us.
Yep.
And we really, really appreciate it. I mean, there's not words, there's not actions I can do to fully transfer the feelings I have. I just don't know how to say it. Yeah. But we really appreciate it. It's been incredible, and I do want to address a couple of things. I'm fine.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Yes.
As far as I know.
Yes. Right.
I just had a scan, just had a blood test. I'm fine.
Had good results.
Good results. I'm not dying any more than I normally would be.
That's right.
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which we all
So
are.
we all are doing that. We are all fine here. We're all friends. We will remain friends. Rick has honored his commitment to me and to this show, and I have honored my commitment to you in this show, and like you guys. So there's nothing bad here. This is just where we are, and it's been a wonderful long run, and it had to end sometime.
Right.
And this is the time. I hate it, and really, I wish we could go on a few more years.
Right.
It would have been a better arrangement in a lot of ways, but that's not always our. We don't always get to pick how things end.
Right.
And but I appreciate you, Rick, and you guys. It's been unbelievable.
Well, I said it to you privately, and now I'm going to say it to you publicly. Is standing in that office in Gadsden, Alabama, with the general manager at the time, and the Rick Burgess Morning Extravaganza had a reoccurring character called Bill Bubba Bussey, the engineer. Mm-hmm. And I remember standing with him at the end of 1993 and telling him that I think that we need to come back in 94 as a two-man show, Rick and Bubba. And I remember him saying, "What am I supposed to do for an engineer?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what."
Because clearly it was giant shoes to fill.
Right. Okay. And I remember saying, "Well, look, we'll cut a deal that'll give you at least enough money for a part-time engineer, not a full-time. I didn't have that kind of money. But a part-time engineer." Yeah. And I told you this privately, and I'm going to tell you this publicly. That was one of the best investments I ever made. And you have delivered. You and I together, and through God's great grace and blessing, have afforded me a life that I could not have ever dreamed of. And I just want to thank you publicly for that.
Back at you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. In what Rick is saying, I don't think I want to be clear so people understand. You took a pay cut, so I could come on the morning show,
right?
And it was funny because we had been kind of doing it part time for a year or two.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that to me, and I had mentioned it to Betty, and I was going to tell you. You said you let me know by Monday because I got to decide what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it was about middle of the week before, and Betty and I talked about it and prayed about it, and I said, I really, if I need to change in this way, because I wasn't talent, I was behind the scenes, I was, man behind the curtains. If I'm going to change this, I don't know that I have the personality to do this or whatever. I said, God, you're going to have to show me. Because I'm not that smart.
Right.
I need a burning bush out there.
Right.
Starting on that Friday, I had to tell you on Monday, and I think I'd pretty much decided not to do it. And starting on Friday, we had thunderstorms, almost nonstop.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this.
Saturday, we had thunderstorms nonstop. Sunday, we had thunderstorms nonstop. And I bet I went to the mountain 6 times, maybe 8. And I was so tired and so give out from going up there and getting us on the air and repairing and, ordering parts and all that. When I got back Sunday night, I told Betty, I said, I asked for a burning bush.
And I think you got it.
And while we didn't see the bush, there was plenty of lightning going.
Right, yeah.
It was burning.
I said,
it was a flood.
I said, I am so tired of going up here. And really, they're not going to invest the money to fix this stuff
Right.
like we need to.
Right.
And I'm going to have to keep patching it together. I said, I'm ready for a change. I just want to give it a chance. God, if that's your sign, so be it. Mm-hmm. And I went back and I told Rick, I said, Rick, I'd love to do it. I think we will have a lot of fun. But I only think I can be funny 2 days a week.
Right.
And you want to start out slow.
Well, and as Rick has reminded me several times, I've held true to that.
Yeah, thank you.
And
solid goal.
I mean, that's about all I had.
Solid
Might
goal.
throw a third in there, man.
But I, the whole thing that was so funny about that is, I didn't realize till just now, till you remind me that you and Greg came to the show for the same reason.
Yeah. We really got tired of being called out.
That's a good point.
And
you're right, buddy.
I never put that together.
I remember driving back on that Sunday night, and I couldn't wait to talk to Betty. And I said, we prayed for a burning bush.
There it is.
And I'm going to tell you, we didn't physically see that, but this was not one of those things with a small voice where you think you're being led. I mean, I had lightning bolts. I had fire. I had things burned up all around me, and I thought, this is really a modern day version of that, in my life for me.
Well, those of you may not know this. One of the things, and anybody in the industry will tell you this, and we'll come back.
That's a good shot right there.
Yeah, but people can't. You can take 2 people and put them together. But you can't make them have chemistry. You can't.
Right.
You can't teach that. You can't put them in a camp for that. And so the chemistry was there, especially from a humor standpoint, and that we both knew was there. Our biggest concern, and it really was that way all the way through these 30 years. Will anybody? They'll give us a shot to show them it'll work.
Yeah.
And if anybody would just give us an opportunity, we thought the people would respond, and we'll continue talking about this. But and as Bubba said to start, all of you out there were the key, because if y'all didn't respond, this would have lasted about 30 days.
Right.
And it will be 31 years because we're going to finish out the year. But we'll come back. We'll continue to discuss. We'll get some of your phone calls at 866-WE-BE-BIG.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
And, of course, now more than ever, we remind you of the Rick and Bubba store, where if you are looking for Rick and Bubba swag, it has never been more valuable than right now. Because once everything in the store runs out, that'll be it.
Baby, she's gone.
Hey, baby, she's gone. So there's some classic items there. Of course, there's some 30th anniversary things there, too, including the collectible tea glass. Our second one is there, too. So, Bubba, we got lots of emails, lots of texts. One thing that you said to me when we were discussing that this is what's about to happen, I'm getting killed on emails and on text, and you called it. Now, this show goes out everywhere, but we all started in Alabama. It's our home base. It's where we are. And, Alabama is a huge part of our listening audience, always has been.
Everything grew from there.
But I know Alabama fans are actually all over the country, and the text and email I keep getting is Saban now this.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rick,
you were concerned.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know, but our contract was tied directly to Nick Saban.
Right.
And when he stepped down, we were in trouble, so we had to follow.
Yeah.
I realize there's a panic in society right now when you think about the one close to home. So Bill Burgess goes on in, Saban retires, and now Rick and Bubba are ending the show this year.
Yep.
So for Alabama people, this is tough right now.
Yep.
But again, there's always hope. There's always, like I said, there's a lot of time left this year, and we want to celebrate. We don't want to make it a funeral or anything like that. I mean, I know as we get closer to the end, it'll probably get more and more emotional. But again, we got a lot of time to celebrate.
That and the giant countdown clock to 0.
Right.
And
and of course, middle of December, the big show ender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, I know this is what I hate for the listeners today and viewers. I know how I felt when shows that were a part of my life for many, many years ended. Mm-hmm. Some of them were TV shows, MASH, Seinfeld. I even got into Big Bang Theory after it was already off the air. And then when I ran out of shows to watch, I had that same, feeling. Oh, yeah, It was horrible. Yeah. It was horrible.
I didn't even think about that.
And there were radio shows that we listened to growing up that I loved and influenced me in so many ways. And Mark and Brian was one of those. And, of course, we didn't get to hear them all the time because we were on at the same time.
Right.
But there was a time many, many years ago that they were on satellite. And when we would leave every day and go to lunch, I could catch the last 15, 20 minutes of their show. So it was good to hear what they were doing, and just kind of catch up what was happening with them. And when their last show came around, I left here a little bit early and I went over to the parking lot where I eat most of the time, and I listened to probably the last hour of their show. And I sit there and cried like a baby. And I thought, what is wrong with me?
Right, yeah.
Why am I I met these guys one time. I admire what they have done.
Sure.
They're on the other coast. They're 3 time zones away. Why am I tore up? I don't even listen to them every day.
Right.
And I felt like my dog had been run over.
Yeah.
That feeling?
Yeah.
And I know that there's going to be some of that today.
Sure.
And I hate that. I hate that for everybody because we hopefully have given you a few laughs over the years. So we apologize for that. We really do.
Well, but then there's that other side. Well, I'm glad they care.
Yes,
because
very glad.
But because
Very
if they
glad.
didn't care, you kind of feel like this didn't go well.
Right.
So it's a range of emotions, as you can imagine, and we know that you share those with us, and you have been through bent over laughing days. You've been through sobbing, weeping days with us, and we have all been through a lot together, and it has been incredible. And I think it is good. Bubba and I have talked about many times, we wanted to know when the show was over before you did, because we didn't want it to become sad. And some of us have had that happen too, where you love something and you kind of go, oh, wow, they probably should have called it quits a few years ago. And we never wanted to get to that place. We wanted to end it, when we had not become a parody of ourselves, and it was still, kicking. I actually been paying attention, since we knew we were going to do that, and I will credit the whole team. I think you guys are doing great shows this year. I mean, really good, coming out wide open, and that's the way we ought to finish it. You got to honor the brand by giving the listeners what they deserve, and probably the best years of shows we've ever done.
Also, getting some questions. What will you guys do after the show, Rick?
Well, do you think is it today the day for that? Do you want to just celebrate? I mean, what? There's one thing that I have never been silent about to any of the guys on the show and to you, the audience. This is the call on my life from the time I was a little boy. I love it as much now as I ever have. I probably have more energy to do it now. Now I may not make it through the year. I acknowledge that.
No,
I'm just talking about the things I know, which are very limited with my finite mind. Only God knows. But I feel healthier than I have probably felt even in my 40s. I enjoy it, and I want to continue to do this in some way, shape, or form as long as I can mentally and physically do it. And so I will do something beyond this, but I certainly want to take the time now to celebrate what we have done, and there will be plenty of time to talk about what's coming.
Yeah, I don't. As far as me, I have no plans at this point. Now, I probably shouldn't say this, but in the break, I did get a text from Ricky Smiley, so I don't know. I don't know what's available.
I do think we need to take, because a lot of people think you've been tapped as Trump's VP.
Yeah,
well,
there's that out there.
And that's not the case
yeah.
either.
That is not the case.
Vote
Not
Bubba.
yet.
I will say this: Betty and I have we've really been looking for a way to get more involved in the ministry, and we've been looking for some doors open. And I think this is probably a good time to let everybody know we are going to start a ministry called the Women's Church. And
Okay.
it's I thought maybe we could work together, Rick, get them all together in the same town. Have a single Pringle mingle or something. So
I've got I got a publisher that would be very interested.
yeah,
in that.
that's good. So, no, we'll share more of that as we go. But we just want to enjoy and celebrate. We got a year to reminisce. And I will say this: I think it'll give us some freedom to tell some stories we couldn't tell before.
Absolutely, because what are they going to do to us now?
Exactly.
Yeah,
What are they going to do? Fire us?
You're talking about some behind the scenes. Good night.
So, Bubba, we're talking a lot of history today. We announced the show. This is our last year that we'll do the show all together. So Speedy has been with the show almost, 29 of the 30 or
29 and a half. Minus about 6 months.
yeah, about
maybe.
6 months. Because if it feels like
he was lurking around there.
I was.
Yeah.
As Kevin Calloway. Watch out.
So Kevin Calloway
They made me change my name. I don't know why.
Yeah, and we talked about that on the show, but Bubba and I have had our opportunity to talk to the people and thank them, and to tell all of you thank you. And so, Speedy, you have the floor. There you go.
Well, look, I just want to thank the two of you because I was a 25-year-old that didn't have a lot of direction. I knew kind of what I wanted to do, but I didn't have the grades to do that. No, I'm kidding. Y'all gave me an opportunity, and here we are 30 years later, and raised a family, started a family, raised a family, have just live life with you guys, and I look at y'all as two older brothers. You know what I'm saying? And so for that, I'm forever thankful for the two of you for giving me the opportunity, because y'all didn't have to do that, but you believed in me and let me do my thing.
Well, let's face it, all good things must come to an end. All things have an expiration date. And we looked at this time and the history of the show, and we thought, if we're ever going to end it, the timing is right, and looking at some of the things that were in front of us, we thought, well, this may be our best option at this time, and I'm glad we're ending it when people still care about it.
Yeah, it is important. It's been a good run, and we certainly appreciate the listeners letting us do this for this long.
Rick and Bubba.